Hey friends, I wanted to make a video about what I wish I knew about money in my 20s. So recently, I just turned 31 and it kind of hit me like I'm not as young anymore. College was like a decade or more ago, and that's just kind of wild to me. And I'm in such a different place financially than I was when I graduated from school. And I just thought about that a little bit because we don't really learn a whole lot about personal finance, saving money, spending money, investing it when we're in school, unless we're taking classes geared towards that. And it took me about a decade to really get my financial situation under control with loans and with credit card interest and everything like that. So I wanted to put this list together to just kind of talk to my younger self, and I hope it can help you if you're young, whether you're in college or early 20s, late 20s, or heck, even in your 30s like me, on what I wish I knew about money. Number one would be to prioritize bad debt. So what is bad debt? Bad debt is mainly high interest credit card debt. You might also have some bad debt from loans, if you have any college loans, anything like that that's, above 6% interest. And then of course, personal loans. Mortgages I wouldn't count as bad debt unless you were on a variable rate mortgage or something really high. I'm mainly talking about credit card debt here. And that's usually interest in the 20 to 30% range. And that's where you can really, really get financially screwed over and in a really deep hole. And I was kind of in that situation when I graduated from college. I had a credit card that I had opened with my parents in school, and I put a lot of expenses on that credit card. And when I graduated, I was stuck with about $10,000 in credit card debt. And it's not because I put $10,000 on that credit card over 4 years. It's because I wasn't paying off the statement balance every month. I'd pay the minimum, or if I was splitting it with my parents, we'd pay the minimum together. And I just didn't understand that at the time. I hadn't really used credit cards a whole lot. I put a lot of school expenses on there. Yeah, there were some Taco Bell charges and some stuff on there that I probably shouldn't have spent money on as well. But the problem was that every month I was accruing interest. And at 25 to 30% interest, that was snowballing, that was adding up over time. And I got in a really bad debt situation when I graduated. And so when I left school and I took my first job out of college, I wasn't getting paid a whole lot of money. I had only a few $100s left over every month after I paid my rent and utilities, and I was eating beans and oatmeal practically. And I think I had the first few months, I think I had like a $400 to $600 minimum payment on my credit card when I graduated from school. And it just wrecked me because I couldn't pay it. And so what I did is I kept accruing interest, and it actually continued to build. So I was only paying off the interest that I owed on that credit card. And I still needed to spend money on things. I still had expenses that I was using it for. I didn't do a good job of prioritizing my bad debt. And that's not only spending, but that's the whole mentality around bad debt, including savings and including investing. And I'll touch on savings and investing a little bit further on, but I thought that I could save money while also paying off bad debt. And my thinking there was, whenever I got a check from my parents for, maybe it was from a birthday or for Christmas, from family members, relatives, $50 here, $100 there, I would put that money in savings. And that's not a bad thing to do, but it's something that you might want to think about if you have bad debt, because actually for me, I was not saving any money because I was putting $100 into my savings account while I was accruing interest at near 30%. So I was actually losing money, net losing money. And had I prioritized that bad debt, been smarter about how I approached it, I would have instead used that money that I put into savings to pay off my credit card interest entirely early on, so that I could completely wipe out my debt and start actually saving money. And same thing with investing. I made some investment decisions early on, and if you're investing and you factor in the S&P 500 or an ETF index fund, something like that, and you say, okay, well, I'm going to earn 6 to 10% over time, averaged over time per year on that investment, right? 6 to 10%. If you're in the whole 30%, if you're 30% credit card interest and you're earning 6 to 10% in your investments, what are you losing? You're losing 20%, right? Because you still have you have credit card interest. So unless you're able to offset that, you're losing money. So I would have prioritized that bad debt early on. I would have gotten myself out of that hole sooner. I would have recognized that, if I was speaking to my younger self, would have been, use everything to get yourself out of bad debt as soon as possible so that you can actually start accumulating wealth, investing and saving. Okay. The second thing I would have done is don't keep up with your friends. And there's a few things that come to mind when I think about this. I went out with my friends a lot in my early 20s. You're young, you might have your first job, you might feel like you're on the up and up in your career and you're making moves, and you graduated from college, or maybe you're going into the trades and you're getting your trade certifications, and you're actually starting to earn an income, and you're feeling good about yourself, and you're feeling like, I deserve to go out, I deserve to spend money, I deserve that new car. And you're seeing all your friends do this. And today, with social media, with TikTok, with YouTube, with Instagram, you see all these influencers, right? You see all these influencers living this lifestyle, and you want to live that lifestyle with your friends. Well, let me tell you something. Your friends are stupid. Not all of them, but by and large, people are dumb. Individuals are smart. Okay, so a group of friends, right? You're going out to the bars, you're going out to a restaurant. When you're with a group of young people, there's a little bit of pressure, I would say, to spend more money than you otherwise would be comfortable spending on your own. So in that situation, absolutely continue to have fun, because you're young, and I think you're only going to have that experience once when you're young in your 20s, and you're able to do that, unless you have commitments, responsibilities, families, dependents, etc. It's going to be probably the most free that you're going to be in your life. However, the caveat is, a lot of times that freedom comes at a time when it's most important to make good financial decisions and build good financial habits. And young 20-year-olds, at least myself, we're not making good financial decisions. We're not making good financial habits because we want to have fun with each other. And when you see your friends, they're buying new cars, they're blowing cash at the bars, they're partying. You want to buy into that lifestyle. Why can't you live that lifestyle? Especially travel. Travel's a big one too. You see all these people traveling on Instagram, posting pictures, and you feel like you're missing out. Well, from my personal experience, most people that I knew who were posting pictures, traveling the world all the time, they were putting it on credit cards. There were friends of mine who, don't get me wrong, were absolutely building wealth responsibly and could afford to travel all the time. But by and large, at least me, I couldn't afford that. And most people can't. So whenever you're trying to keep up with anybody else, whether it's your friends, your family, whoever else it is, it's a losing game because their lifestyle, their income, their situation could be completely different than yours. Okay, so be true to yourself and your situation, and in 5-10 years, when you're 30 years old, you're gonna look back and you're gonna wish you didn't go out and buy 10 extra drinks at the bar. You're gonna wish that maybe that trip and that flight that you booked last minute that cost you all your savings. Yeah, it might have been a fun trip. It might have been a good experience. But had you saved that money or invested that responsibly, when you turn 30, when you turn 40, you're going to have a lot more money. You're going to have a lot more savings to feel comfortable about taking those trips. And I know a lot of people who are now my age who were spending money like that, and now they don't have savings, they don't have investments, and they're having a real tough time. Along that same line is don't trust your parents. And this one's tough because we want to trust our parents. And I don't say don't trust your parents because some parents certainly are well-versed in finances, and not everybody's parents are the same. Unless your parents are actually, they actually work in finance. They actually have really good fundamental knowledge about finances and investing and savings, and they set up a trust or an account for you where you're financially secure. That might be a completely different situation, but I would still say don't trust your parents. Why? Because your parents lived a different life than you. My parents lived a completely different life than me, and they're coming from a different place and different priorities. So even though they might have good advice, take it with a grain of salt and with the understanding that the life that you want to live may look entirely different, and it's going to be up to you to decide what's best for your financial situation. An example here would be I grew up with the understanding that credit cards are terrible. I shouldn't spend any money on a credit card if I don't absolutely have to. And that's not necessarily bad advice for people who have a really tough time paying their credit cards off, budgeting their expenses, and being able to pay those credit card statement balances off on time and accumulate, bad debt and are able to pay it off. But the understanding that don't use credit cards that was drilled into me, I was using my debit card a lot, and for a lot of reasons, a debit card is less secure than a credit card for a lot of purchases, doesn't have the same security protections, travel protections, purchase protections that you get with most credit cards. And it doesn't allow you to build credit responsibly in a way that using a credit card does and what a credit card teaches you. And also, quite frankly, you miss out on so much with the world of credit card rewards, with cash back, with travel points, with all sorts of in-network partners, out-of-network partners, all sorts of, that whole world about credit cards I won't get into in this video, but there's a lot to learn there that I just had no concept of. And when my wife and I were dating and we signed up for a credit card together, we actually missed out on the welcome bonus. And it was a generous welcome bonus. I think it was $600 or $700. And we missed out on it because I insisted not to use that credit card and instead put those purchases on a debit card for the most part. And so we could have paid off that credit card just fine and earned that $600-$700 welcome bonus, but we didn't, because I came with that mentality that credit cards are bad and not to use them. So whether it's credit cards, whether it's saving, whether it's investing, everybody's different. And take your parents' advice through a rose-tinted glass, so to speak, and decide for yourself where your priorities lie. And use credit wisely. I mentioned that credit cards are a great way to build credit. There's whole articles, videos that people put together on how to build credit and how to do it fast. I didn't have great credit when I graduated from college. I maxed out my credit card and I was accumulating high interest debt, like I mentioned. It took me a while to build my credit, and part of that is because I didn't really understand credit. There's a lot of great tools out there. There's a lot of financial products, a lot of apps out there, budgeting apps, to understand your credit and to build your credit. A lot of credit cards now have built-in credit building tools where you can understand your path to building credit and raising your credit limit. And to me, I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to that when I was younger, and I wish that I had, because had I been able to build my credit up at an earlier age and increase my credit limit, I would have been able to maximize the value on the money that I was spending through rewards. I would have qualified for better interest rates on loans, whether that might be a personal loan, whether that might be an auto loan, whether that might be a mortgage. The higher your credit score is, the world just opens up. The more doors open up to what you're going to be able to do and the financial decisions that you're going to make for yourself. The next one is investing. Invest as early as you can. With the caveat, do not invest in the hype. When you're young, when I had graduated, cryptocurrency had just kind of come out as the next big thing in the financial world. Bitcoin was starting to gain traction. And there were all of these hype stocks that started to circulate online. And this happened, of course, more recently during the GameStop saga and everything that happened with that. And I mean, I can only imagine what it's like on TikTok and Instagram right now, where you have all these young financial influencers who are talking about their investments, and they talk about crypto and they talk about Forex and getting rich quick and all of these type of things. And you can certainly make quick money on certain investments, but it is very risky and it is not the norm. If it was the norm, then everybody would be doing it and nobody would be working. If I could talk to my younger self, I would say invest in the boring stuff. Invest in index funds and just chill. Index funds and chill. If you want to pick stocks, do the research, talk to a financial advisor, follow some sound financial guidance. There's a lot of websites out there who provide information about investing in stocks. Invest in the boring stuff, the stuff that does not sell high returns, does not market these outstanding returns that you're gonna, double, triple, quadruple your money, because by and large, that's not gonna be the case. If you have a well-diversified portfolio of stocks, the research has shown that you are going to probably be able to grow your investments at a rate of 6 to 10% over time, averaged over time per year. And if you invest in an index fund that is there's a lot of them out there, a lot of different options. But if you invest in a popular index fund that replicates like the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ, something like that, you're also probably going to be okay if you keep that money in an index fund over time. Just don't touch it. Don't touch it. And if you can, open up an IRA, like a Roth IRA. Put that money in so it can earn money tax-free, right? So you pay taxes with the Roth IRA when you invest, and then when you take out money when you are of age, of retirement age, you're able to withdraw that money tax-free, not pay any taxes. The money that accumulates interest you earn, you don't have to pay taxes on because you've already paid them when you put it in. 401k, if your employer offers a 401k match, also very good investment decision. Absolutely take that match if you can. Maximize what you're able to put in because the sooner you invest, the earlier you invest, the more compound interest you're going to accumulate, the more wealth you are going to accumulate over time. And your 30-year-old self, and when I turn 40, when I turn 50, I will look back and I will wish that I had even invested more than I already have. So be very wary of anything that's being hyped up, that's marketing these really high returns. Only invest what you can afford and what you can risk to lose in those situations, and understand that that the market changes, and the only person that you have to answer to when it comes to investments and what you're comfortable with is yourself. If you're comfortable with high risk investments, that's on you. If you're more comfortable with lower risk that earns lower returns, that's on you. That is a decision that only you can make, and everybody is going to be different on that. You hear a lot about all these people getting rich on all these meme stocks, hype stocks, cryptocurrency, everything like that, when they're making money. But when the market changes, you don't hear the stories about people losing their shirts, losing their entire portfolios, losing all the savings that they decided to YOLO into some stock that some influencer promoted online. Okay, so trust yourself and answer to yourself with what you're comfortable with the understanding that a lot of the best investment decisions are not super high return, crazy marketed, blow up in the media. A lot of them are just your boring index funds, your tried and true blue chip stocks, whatever it might be. You're putting that money in an IRA or a 401k and just forgetting that it's there is oftentimes the best thing. This next one is a little personal, and it's setting expectations for a lifestyle that you're comfortable with your partner early on. Setting clear lifestyle expectations, I think, is one of the number one issues, one of the number one pieces of advice that I would tell anybody in a relationship, anybody who's looking to get married, to start a family, who's looking to get serious and settle down. And even if you're not, even if you're dating, I think it's really important to set lifestyle expectations early on if you can. As we know, money is one of the number one reasons that relationships don't work out. Money is one of the number one reasons why people end up getting divorced, why people split from their partners. And a lot of that comes down to this expectation of lifestyle is not met or is not clearly set. A lot of people, when they're young, they want to make an impression. They want to wine and dine their partner. They want the romance. And I'm not saying you can't have that, but I'm saying that if you're young and you're taking your partner out on dates and you're going out and you're spending a lot of money on them, and then all of a sudden you get married or you get more serious and you stop that lifestyle, you stop spending all this money, and you find out that either you can't afford it or they can't afford it, or there's a mismatch in those expectations, it can cause resentment. And people, rightly so, might think, well, what the heck? Like we were traveling, we were going out all the time, and then all of a sudden we're in all this debt and we're not saving money. What's going on here? And I think that's super important for people to get on the same page as early as possible about what you expect out of your lifestyle when it comes to money. And there's no right or wrong answer here. A lot of people will say, well, you should save as much as possible. You should try to retire early. You should stop spending money on any frivolous expenses. You hear from some personalities out there. I won't name names, but, stop spending money on eating out, stop traveling, save every last dollar, invest every last dollar. And that can work out well for some people, but some people don't live as long as other people. Some people don't have relationships that last as long and are able to enjoy their lifestyle at a later age. Some people really want to live a nice bougie or extravagant or fun lifestyle while they're young because they might have, who knows, they might have health conditions. They might not be able to enjoy their time with their family if they have a family member who, might not be around at a later age. Everybody's situation is different. So there's no wrong answer here. The right answer, I would say, is as long as you set expectations and you're clear with your partner about the lifestyle that you both are comfortable living, and are able to manage that early on. That doesn't mean necessarily combining expenses. My wife and I, that was something for us. We actually did combine expenses. We combined bank accounts and we started using budgeting apps together and reviewing our finances. For us, that was incredibly helpful. As soon as we did that, we were able to pay off a lot of bad debt. We were able to make a lot better financial decisions for our future. Not everybody needs a combined bank account. Not everybody needs to do that similar process. As long as you're able to communicate clearly and set those expectations, you're going to be a lot more happy, hopefully, later on, 5, 10, 20 years down the road. This last one is kind of just a summary of what I've talked about in this video, and that's trust your gut. Like I said earlier, you are the only person that ultimately is going to answer to yourself when it comes to your finances and or your partner. So you, and if you're in a relationship, you and your partner are the only ones ultimately, unless you have dependents or whatever your situation might be there, ultimately it comes down to trusting yourself, trusting your partner, being able to trust your gut. There's a lot of videos where people have conversations and review their finances with a financial advisor. These videos are popular on YouTube, where they have a financial audit and they go over all their expenses and they just get hammered by all these like charges and spending and it's all these expenses that are frivolous and or they probably could have cut down on and could have saved instead. And in almost all these cases, these people know, like we know when we're spending too much money. Generally, like I said, people are dumb, individuals are smart. I feel like most people have a good gut instinct on whether or not they're being financially responsible with their money. And that comes down to that eating out, that, jacket at the mall, that purse, that plane flight, whatever it might be, that expense when you go, I probably can't afford this, but I deserve it, or I'm going to reward myself, whatever it might be there. We have that moment where we know we probably shouldn't be spending as much money. We probably should be saving more money. We probably should be investing more money, but we're not. And that's our gut. And I feel like most people have that gut instinct that we just don't listen to, right? And we should. Whenever you feel like that, whenever I felt like that when I was younger and I didn't listen to myself and I didn't listen to my gut, I just want to kick myself for not listening to my gut back then. Because if I had, I would have been able to save a lot more. I would have been in an even better financial situation than I am now had I just trusted my gut. So anyway, that's my video about what I wish I knew about money in my 20s. If you're in college or your early 20s, or heck, even if you're 30, 40, 50, any time in your life, I think this information is applicable. And I hope that this helps you out with your financial journey. If you like this video, let me know. I might start a series on personal finance, on savings, and talking about my financial journey. If you'd be interested in that kind of content, let me know. Thanks for watching.